Sometimes the pace, but again, it's hard to avoid at at this level in Ontario. It's not pace of play is not policed, but it's not like anyone's too slow. Sometimes there's just a large volume of players going through a course, and that's the name of the game. But yeah, waiting around a lot um, can detract from that. And then another one would be just be amenities. Like we don't expect a lot, but if there aren't bathrooms available or water on a hot day, that can be brutal sometimes. If your cart can only have so much space for water bottles, and if they don't have any at the water station by the time you get around, if they don't do a good job replenishing, then it can be a little bit frustrating.
Mm-hmm. I think I don't think anything really stands out in my mind. I don't. This might be a personal preference, but I don't like communications like emails too late in advance. Like if it's just like a few days before the tournament, I want to be able to prepare. But also don't send me like 10 emails leading up to the tournament. Just one well in advance, and then one right before. That's enough.
One thing that is kind of annoying for me being a female player is so many discs that you get in a player's pack are like 12-speed max weight drivers. Like, I don't need another destroyer. I don't need another wraith. Like, give me a fairway driver. I'm not saying that it has to be lightweight. Like, I can throw, mid max weight things, but give me a mid range. Give me a fairway driver. I'm not throwing, 11, 12 speed discs. Like, it's just not me. It's not for my game. It's for very few of us. So I would love to have maybe a selection or more options, or when some players or some tournaments will do like, oh, these discs are for women. It's like super lightweight diamonds, and it's great for newer arm speed women and stuff. But if you get to that more competitive edge of women's disc golf, I'm not throwing a diamond. Like it's great. I appreciate the effort that you've gone through, but again, you either go from one end of the scale to the other. There's no like, it's finding that balance of being like, these are good discs for everyone, kind of no matter what, versus like, oh, only really MA1s are going to be throwing this, or like brand new players are going to be throwing this disc. Like, I want something more in the middle more often. I definitely love being able to have a selection. It does, the only time that becomes an issue is when you do tee times or split day events. Then it's like, oh, it sucks. Like, you're playing on the Sunday, all of the good discs are gone Saturday, which then kind of sucks. So I think if you're doing a split day event, you really should be looking at the selection of stuff and trying to divide it between the 2 days so that it's equal for both people.
I think my main gripe right now has been just spending like the players packs, kind of like getting stuff that I just don't really need anymore. I know we have a couple bags that are just still like hanging in my car that I haven't even touched and have no need for. Certain thing like stuff like that. Like, I would prefer it if not really getting a player pack, if it's just like a random disc and like a bag, like having something that's like that I haven't seen before is always really nice.
Well, I mean, kind of on theme of the first answer, I'm very easily satisfied. So there isn't a lot other than I guess just it's not even really anything that I think like a tournament director can do, just some sort of courses when you get long backups and tournament rounds can really drag on when you have a backup of a half hour on a hole. That's obviously it takes you out of the game. Sometimes you can obviously have some good conversations with your card mates in that time, but a lot of the times it just takes you out of the run of a tournament, especially if it comes midway through your round or something like that, can throw you off your game. But on the flip side of that, I don't know exactly like what a tournament staff can really do. Sometimes courses just have particular areas where it gets really tricky and it bottlenecks. I think you see it on the Pro Tour sometimes, even backups occurring on great courses with good tournament staff. So I'm not sure exactly what anyone could even do about that, but for me, that is definitely one thing that brings down a tournament experience.
Sometimes the pressure, I think, like especially kind of having a good reputation of being a good player, winning a bunch of tournaments. I think the pressure of winning the next one's always a little bit built on, and you got to kind of try to adapt to it.
Well, I've run a lot of them, and so, I guess I dislike some of the, everybody seems to want something extra or something special, and nobody can agree on what that is sometimes. So you just can't please everybody all the time, and so it doesn't matter what tournament you're playing or how great it is. Someone's always got something to complain about, But I mean, there's enough now that you can just pick and choose the ones you want to play. So that's less and less for me.
Yeah. So I think I have a lot of opinions about everything. But I think sometimes we can, as FPOs, get like tough layouts compared to the divisions we're playing against. It's tough for TDs to navigate that. So I think sometimes there can be more thought put into that kind of stuff. But, for the most part, like, you're going out there to see if you can play the course the best. So it doesn't really matter what the layout is. But, yeah, sometimes that...
I have no complaints. I like tournaments.
There's not enough.
Yeah.
Dislike. Some tournaments, yes. 2 rounds a day is tough. I know not for the younger group, but it's like, you get older, it's a lot harder to do 2 rounds in one day. Anything else? Just to think of. I don't get players packs anymore, so it doesn't. You know what I mean? I think that when I got players packs, though, it was more there should be an option if you want one or not type of thing. I don't think everyone should have to just get we got so many discs and some people don't need it, so there should be a good way to opt out of that.
I mean, ideally, all of them would be 5 minutes from my house. I think unfortunately, just to the landscape of Ontario and it being so large, like there's a bunch of tournaments that I'm never gonna make it out to, or I definitely won't make it out to this year anyways. Like I'd love to go to some tournaments up further north, like Sudbury, the Blueberry Bowl, for instance. I'd love to go to that tournament. It sounds like a ton of fun. People talk about it all the time, but it's a huge drive for me, and I probably won't make it out there. Otherwise, like another big topic that seems to come up a lot recently is cost of tournaments. I'm on the side that you're going to pay a premium for playing A tiers on private courses, especially when I just had that giant list of demands of what made a perfect tournament that costs money. And so I'm totally okay with paying those types of fees, especially when folks like tournament directors have to be upfront with those pass-through costs. The other thing that I would say is I wish more people would come out to these tournaments. And maybe that's asking a lot, but I just think that the more people that get out, or the more people that are allowed to come out, the more divisions that are offered, just allows for tournaments to be more enjoyable for everybody that's involved.
I don't think I dislike a lot of things at tournaments. Like overall, I've enjoyed most of the ones that I've gone to. I haven't gone away not liking them. I think there was one tournament where there was some OB lines that weren't fully laid out or marked. So there was some discrepancies on when different cards were playing the holes, and it got confusing that we didn't know a certain area was, OB, and we threw into it. Mm-hmm. And then other parts, it felt like they could have not used the markers where they did.
I don't know. It all depends on the person. I just think of location as a thing. I do live far away from all of them, but most of them are placed in the big city. Not a lot out in the country anymore. That's why Project 15 is so special.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
I think location, it all gets when the city comes in. We'll put it in the most busiest area, so that it attracts more people. But at the same time, you kind of want to make it special, to put it somewhere in the middle of a forest like Project 15 and make it something unique.